Guys, I've been watching those shows for a while, and generally when people like start bidding on these storage units, it's never anything, spectacular. But $7.5 million makes it seem like more people should do it. But obviously there's always risk. What's the chance of someone finding $7.5 million in cash in a storage unit and then that person not going back for that cash? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But either way, let's counter it. This is coming from the channel Did You Know?
Placing the final bid that ultimately won the contents of a storage container that would become the dream of a lifetime or the ultimate nightmare. When a man uncovers what really lies inside his container, he's shocked. And when the police showed up at his door hours later, he wasn't ready. He was just getting comfortable with bidding on storage containers that were on auction. Spending money that he didn't have was a huge gamble when you have no idea what's inside.
Right,
but there were so many stories
gambling
out there about people striking it rich. Even of some people finding whole classic cars and driving off into the sunset. So far he'd been lucky, managing to sell the contents for just a little over what he'd paid for the entire lot.
Okay.
But it was a lot of work and a lot of time going through someone else's junk, sorting, cleaning, and then finding the right buyer. He was almost at the end of his rope. If there was nothing big in this one, he was done. Joe stood outside the container with about 15 to 20 other people, eager to rubberneck what was inside the 5x15 unit. These were too big to get a good look inside, however, because they could store the contents of a one-bedroom apartment. Ideal for furniture, including a couch, chair, and small dining set, sporting equipment, bicycles, business merchandise. Not ideal for glancing inside and spending hundreds of dollars on.
Right.
The bidding was fun. Not exactly what you see on TV, which is high drama, shouting, pushing, screaming, and general mayhem.
Bunch of arguing.
Definitely fun, especially when he got into a bidding war with someone. It felt good to win, and he warned himself, not for the first time, that he would stick to his budget. Don't spend what you can't afford to lose.
Absolutely.
He didn't want to learn the hard way.
Never do that.
But he just couldn't seem to help himself this time around. The container was packed tight with furniture and other goodies he wanted to look a little closer at, and some annoying woman behind him kept upping his bid. It started at $100, a hefty starting bid, but the container was awfully full. He bet, she upped it a little. He bet again, and so it continued.
Yeah, guys, how much of this is like generally just like I don't know, clothes that should have probably been sent to Goodwill, right? Like generally these type of things could be like kids' toys, like massively used. Like imagine what some of this stuff smells like, bro. But I get it. I mean, listen, if you have the ability to kind of make some money off of what people have thrown away, then I guess do it, sure. But definitely, in fact, do not, go too deep into this realm at least, bro, because again, this is another form of gambling kind of by default.
How long could this go on? $350 in, and he was adamant he would be the winner. $400, and she still hadn't given up. But neither had he. $450, $460, $470. Finally, the bid settled on $500. He was shattered and shaking. As reality returned, he realized exactly what he'd done. There better be something amazing inside that box. He had won. Everyone but a few drifted away from the site now that a winner had emerged. They'd lost interest in the contents because they hadn't won anything themselves.
Right.
But a few stayed around to watch the new owner enter the small building. They only wished they'd been the ones to win it when they saw what he found. Joe slowly walked into the 5x15 unit. It was packed of old furniture, but enough of a gap between existed for him to walk between the items. He felt sweat prickle the back of his neck and forehead. The furniture alone wouldn't cover the high price he'd laid out for this unit. There'd better be something amazing. And he began looking. It didn't jump out at him as it would have in a movie. After all, it was just a dull gray container lying on the floor next to a chest of drawers.
Okay.
But Joe knew what a safe looked like without any fancy CGI to help him. He called up his friends to come out.
Guys, if that's the case, that is definitely not $7.5 million.
Out and help him open the safe.
Not
even if he
hundreds.
looked all day, he doubted he'd find a key. One power drill later, and they were drilling deep into the lock to force it open. And what they found was beyond belief. Taking the lid off the opening, he was gobsmacked by all the bills lying right at the top. $50 bills in huge stacks. He literally fell over from pure shock. Getting to his feet, he started pulling out wad after wad of cold hard cash. But All things were not going to be peaches and cream for Joe and his
Okay, how did the police get involved?
Barely 2 hours into his discovery, there was a knock on the door, and soon men in uniforms were swarming all over the container.
Oh,
Just what had he gotten himself involved in, he
Right.
wondered. It could have been anything. I mean, just who has this much cash just squashed into a safe?
this is valid, but you
Joe
did buy it at
realized
auction,
that in his
so
exultation, he had
tricky.
sent photos to his girlfriend and also uploaded the photos of the contents of the safe to pretty much every social media site.
Oh, my,
No
why
wonder the
would you-
police were here.
Why are you doing that?
He still hadn't been able to count all the cash, but he knew it was enough to roll in. So
Right.
far, he was up to $1 million. He dragged himself away to talk to one of the officers waiting for him.
Guys, never.
All in all, there was
never-
7.5
what
million
is that?
stashed in a few safes around the
A
containers.
few safes.
Everything
okay.
from nickels to $100 bills and pink slips for cars. There was just one gigantic problem.
Okay.
The original owner had gotten wind of the find and had hired some top-notch lawyers to get back his fortune. Joe was in trouble. Everything started
Dude.
moving extremely
Oh,
quickly
that
after the police
sucks.
arrived. Joe
That
got a call
sucks.
from the lawyers telling him in no uncertain terms that he must return the money, but that he could keep $600,000 as a finder's fee.
Oh, that's nice.
Joe had some quick thinking to do. After consulting with his friends, Joe learned that in the state of California, once a unit had been sold, the contents were
theirs.
no longer owned by the delinquent tenant.
Right, I can
He
imagine.
had full rights to keep anything in the unit, after all. He had purchased it fair and square. But the lawyers were not going to back down that easily. Thinking that they were doing Joe a service, they upped the finder's fee to $1.2 million, and they were playing hardball.
Yeah, it's still less
Who
than
knew what these
7.5
people were
million.
capable of? Joe began wondering just how someone forgets $7.5 million in a delinquent storage rental.
That's what I'm saying.
Not someone good, it seemed, but how bad would things get? So would he only get $1.2 million?
And it's
That's
not like
a huge
moldy?
amount of money in anyone's book, but still not quite the huge figure that he had just felt in his hands while unpacking wad after wad of money. He didn't like the fact that he was being strong-armed, but there was also the moral dilemma.
Okay,
It was now
a
his
moral
money,
dilemma.
but he didn't do a thing to earn it.
This is true.
Perhaps he
This
should
is
give
true.
it back. The
This is
thought
true.
was not sitting well with him.
Yeah, don't give it back. I get it. It is true, right? There's definitely seriously a moral dilemma here, but don't give it back. Not this.
After much
Sorry.
deliberation and amongst near threats, Joe
want it.
decided that splitting the money straight down the middle would be a fair split.
Okay.
After all, the now previous owners had left the container unpaid for a lot more than a couple months. In fact, almost a year, without responding to the letters sent by the store owners. And that debt was exactly why the auction had happened. A storage owner says, "I really don't make much money out of auctions. It's to try to cover our expenses.
Right.
90% of the time, I don't cover my losses. One unit may have cost me $600 and the person bids at $400, so my revenue still suffered a loss.
Okay.
An unpaid unit does not make any money. The sooner the delinquent tenant can be moved out, the
Valid.
sooner a
A
paying
new one
tenant
can come in.
be moved in."
Right. Valid. It's just business. Okay, guys, hold on. Yeah, I mean, listen, you did win it at auction. This was someone who had something, obviously. If they cared about it actually, seriously, then they would have not allowed this to happen in the first place. You ran delinquent while storing almost $8 million in a storage unit. I mean, guys, come on. Now, here's the thing. It then goes to auction. Someone buys it in auction. This is kind of where things pretty much end for me mentally and even morally here. All right. You were basically, for the most part, squatting in this storage unit. I'm never going to side with the squatter. I can't. I can't mentally do that. I don't know. It sounds crazy to me. Right. So the fact that you specifically did not care, all right, you did not care to pay the bills. Someone won this at auction. Now, I will say, though, he shouldn't give any of this money back. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I mean, I do feel like it's moderately a moral dilemma, but not really, bro. Not in this instance here. Specifically, you won it at auction. It's yours. But now where he went wrong immediately is by posting this on the internet. Who does things like that? Listen, you come into a good amount of money, the last thing you start doing is flashing money. Are you crazy? You're posting it all over the internet to basically show how much money you won. Are you guys, why would you do such a thing? This is absolutely stupefying. I'm glad nothing actually happened to him though, because again, why would you do this? And first of all, why would you keep all this cash? You could have just delivered it to a bank. Okay. You got it. It was in a storage unit. That's it here. You have it all in cash, or maybe not even a bank, but like, I don't know, drip feed it to a bank or something like that. Because guys, in random numbers of fours. Let's just say this year, 2,000, 8,000, no, 7,500. These type of numbers, basically. You try not to ever do five, but either way, you want to basically get this into a like a legitimate type of system, more so than you just maintaining it in cash that could basically burn up. So I don't know. Who knows how the money was even gotten? I don't know. There's so many moral issues here. I would say a little bit. There's some, I will say, but you're still not getting your money back. You lost it, right? It's like, let me give you an example, kind of like how I deal with these type of scenarios kind of often, at least. So I do a lot of like tax debt type of auctions, me personally, right? So let's say someone buys a house, and then they themselves expire. They leave the house to the kid. The kid basically doesn't do anything to pay the yearly taxes on the house that's been paid off. Those auctions pop up in your county. If you're in the United States of America, you can find these anywhere. So basically, what ends up happening is that your local government starts to auction off your debt. All right. And 3 years of me buying your debt makes it so I own your house. Okay. And you're not going to come to me in 3 years and say, I'm sorry, it's my house. I'll sell you your house back to you if you want. Because you have to understand, kind of like, look, guys, if you want, I'll sell you your house back at market rate. Because if not, I'm going to sell it to someone else at market rate, because I just invested by paying your debt on your property. All right. Or you can pay me back at like a 20%, 30% type of thing. A lot of people do this as kind of like a savings type of thing, right? Because if the owner of that house does decide to pay it back, they now have a charge on top of it, which is about 20 to 30%, depending on where you are. And so you have a 20 to 30% return on your investment, which is a lot higher than your savings account. Okay. So that's a smart thing. But again, if they do not do it, then you have the ability to basically take that house, because now it's yours, right? So now you bought a $500,000 house for whatever the tax were on the house for 3 years, if that makes any sense. So now imagine, that's probably the closest correlation I can probably come to this specific thing here. And you're not going to be able to come to me and say, please, I didn't know, right? It can't, you can't, right? And that's kind of it's a morally gray area, but it's what people have been doing for like 100 years, bro. All right. Pay the taxes on your property. If you don't, you'll have someone that has a sizable savings that'll come and pay it for you. And if they pay it for you, they're going to take ownership of your house. Oh, but your house, my family spent 50 years paying off this house. I know. I get it. Right. I get it. But you then defaulted on your taxes that are yearly. Right. So those are kind of one of those gray area type of like sharky type of things that happen in the United States of America. And just how people do these storage auctions, you should see the tax deed auctions. Okay. Like I said, some of them are super cheap, by the way, guys, because some of them is just like a plot of land rather than an actual house. So either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly, and definitely do not dabble too deeply into this like gambling-esque type of thing here. If you're going to do it, you're going to want to go for a more concrete way. Again, like the method I just told you. But either way, I'll catch you guys later. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.